Hey folks, Studio here. Let's talk about Hecarim and some Pokey and Kitey teams. So what's a Poke Kite team? A team that pokes and kites, but why is it coming into fruition right now? It's getting more and more popular in LCS. It is a thing we are seeing more and more often. And why is Poke and Kite coming back as a comp when before it was, somewhat seen? It was a thing you could do. Well, think about the League of Warmogs. What is the current meta, at least in most people's minds, and really in the case of North America, everybody's minds? Well, you get a tanky dude. Not a hard initiator, not like a CC bot. You get someone who, he gets super duper beefy, and then he deals high damage, and he just sits in the enemy team. So, for example, Renekton. What does he do? You buy a Giant's Belt. You put the Giant's Belt on, and then you just puff up your chest, and you just, hit me! Ah! And that's what you do. And you beat on it a bit. You try and look scary, and you sit there in the enemy team. Now, think about the hard initiate characters. Malphite, for example. Malphite's getting less and less common. He deals okay damage, but he doesn't deal Renekton damage. And Jarvan is this in between where he's got very good hard CC, but it's not super reliable. The banner standard, the standard strike combo, it's 50-50. It's a good CC, but you can't lock down an entire team with it. You can't always get to the back line compared to, say, a Malphite ultimate. Amumu's kind of there too, but Amumu's very good against the Poke-Kite comps. He's just less commonly seen because not necessarily a big old bruiser. So if they don't have one of those big scary initiates, if they have a Renekton with a puffed up chest, a Jarvan who you can flash out of his ultimate, or if you're like a Nidalee, you do that. Just leap and you're out of the ultimate, then Poke and Kite gets a lot more effective. It doesn't matter how tanky the enemy team is if you're running away and you just keep running away and they just can't catch you because you'll keep poking them, hurting them, and eventually they could have 5 million HP, they'll probably die, or tank all your turrets and kill you. But Poke and Kite is coming back. It's getting more popular. It's a very, very good way to play the game right now. At least with everybody else playing games as super tanky initiator. Poke-Kite versus Poke-Kite is like the worst thing. Because it ends up coming down to like one binding and someone dies and it's the game. Now, we're going to be watching a match between Dirtnap Gaming and Cloud9. DNG was an LCS qualifier team. Cloud9 was an LCS qualifier team. These are two of the best Challenger Circuit teams right now. I'd say it's between them, Square Ducks, Curse Academy, and, well, that's 4 teams, so there you go. Of course, there is room for variance. Everything's really chaotic right now in Challengers. But we're following Hecarim. Now, Hecarim was an initiator. He's a dude that can start a fight really well, really reliably. Unlike Jarvan, who has to land a hard CC, that is essentially a skill shot, he just runs at somebody. He runs at somebody, and it's almost guaranteed to hit. So, why is Hecarim part of this? Why is Hecarim part of this kite comp? Well, his role is going to be different. Instead of puffing out his chest and looking really scary, he's going to focus on keeping his team alive, and Hecarim's a very good character for that. Because his team will still be doing damage, his team will still be doing a thing, how does Hecarim work? Well, you've got Rampage. Rampage is his bread and butter for jungling. It's what you max first because it lets you kill jungle minions so easily, and you spam Q with it. You just mash that button, you hit people in a big AoE, and it's good damage. Spirit of Dread. Now, this is his key skill. This is being changed, I believe, this week with the patch. Spirit of Dread, right now, it goes for 10% to 30% healing. It's going to be changed to 20%. But what is that healing? Any damage done to you done by your team, by someone standing in the circle of the Spirit of Dread, is healing for you. So, if someone deals 1,000 damage to an enemy, you get 200 HP. So Hecarim just heals massive amounts in team fights. You can see his HP bar ping pong sometimes, just go boop 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 boop, because it's just so damn good. So in team fights, you tank damage and then heal it up based off your team's damage. So if you're running Poke Kite and your team is still doing damage, you're still healing quite a bit. So it's a really good role. You still protect your team. You have a way to sustain in battle. It's a good tank. Now, how does Hecarim jungle? Well, his first wave clear, or his first jungle clear is the worst. You start with blue buff because it really benefits your Rampage. Rampage, it's not as awesome as it could be with CDR. You don't get down to like 0.4 second cooldown rampages, but the way it works is every time you use rampage, the cooldown goes on it by 1 second if it hits an enemy. This goes up to 2 seconds, so you can get a 2-second rampage. So this means CDR, you get even lower cooldown, you get more spammable rampages, and it's just nice. So the problem is you don't have sustain, and your jungle clear is not that good. He's already down to 450 HP. He got a decent amount of help in the jungle, and it's just he's taking a lot of damage. Now, how do you gank as Hecarim? You run behind someone and you push them forward. We're going to see this as an example. But this game, I haven't mentioned before, DNG gets their ass kicked. We're going to see a little bit of Hecarim's weaknesses right now. But watch this 3-man gank on a top lane. Chris, he gets hit by the Nocturne Fury, gets hit by the Vayne CC, and then Lemon hits him with a slow. Let's look bot lane for the return gank. Alright, box. He doesn't have a slow yet, so they don't have any slow. It's just going to be Hecarim trying to push him back, and he can't catch up. This is a part of the game where I'd say Hecarim is not able to do as many cool things as other junglers. This is very specific to the pro scene. 1v2 lanes are not really common in random games, as I don't know why, but the taskbar keeps popping up. Go away. I think there's something just like drawing its attention. Because you can't really do cool ganks like this reliably. This is just the part of the game where Hecarim doesn't do a whole lot. We're still going to see some of his ganks. We're still going to see how he works when applying pressure. Now, as any jungler does, you have to think about where you go when you leave the base. The first step should be, do I need to clear the jungle? Usually, you need to make sure you don't fall behind too far in experience. So if there's a really obvious place to gank, then you can go towards it. But if not, make sure you pick up some experience. Here, NK Inc., he could look towards the mid lane, but he's going to wait until the assumed wards die, or just because, well, he wants to farm the jungle. Now here, High spots him. You actually see, or no, High does not spot him. That's DNG's ward. This is a Hecarim gank. This is just Hecarim ganking 101. You run at someone, and you push them towards wherever you want them to go, towards your team. If you push them just in any direction, you can push them towards safety, and that's a bad thing, pushing someone towards safety. I see a lot of people with Hecarim on their first time, they don't run behind someone. So here, NKing started explicitly behind High, and then he just pushed him forward. If you were not ganking from the back like that, you'd actually want to run through High and push him back. Don't forget, Hecarim can run through anything. It doesn't matter if he can run through it because of his passive, the warpath. It also means he can't be creep blocked, which is awesome. Now Hecarim was able to bait out that flash. He got High to use a flash. He did not kill High, but this means he's exposed for the future. Unfortunately, top lane is going down, and bot lane is actually not doing too well. Every time they try to push down the turret, balls would poke back with a flame spitter. And as a result, his team is just very low on HP now. So what's going to happen? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for Maple Street. You can get out. Just dodge the ult. By the way, Rumble ult does an extra tick of damage when you leave it, no matter what. And the unfortunate thing is, from Maple Street still had to heal up, so he could have survived that. You didn't need to die. But I don't think he knew about the last tick clause in the Rumble Ultimate that he didn't sign. So DNG's getting their butt kicked. What is Hecarim able to really do right now? Well, he can no longer gank the 2v1 lane. There's no way Chris is in a fighting mood. He's level 4. He's got 15 CS. Rumble is insane right now. He's already level 6. And he can't do anything there. Bot lane's kind of in the same position. Rumble might 1v3 them. Rumble is just terrifying. Mid lane, though, is the accessible one. Now, the thing with Hecarim ganks is they're pretty all in. In the case here, he can't catch up with High, he can't get the knock-up. And once that speed boost falls off, you're kind of screwed. And King, he's got nothing up, he's just going to go down. Now, what was wrong with that gank? They just didn't know where the enemy team was. This is a symptom of a game where you've fallen behind. Unfortunately, that symptom is you fall further behind. What happens? Well, the enemy team, they're like, we can go for Dragon now, we're so far ahead, balls can 1v2 in the top lane, and they'll rotate to try and take out that turret. And also they're far behind, so they'll rotate to avoid the 2v2 lane. And they just group up, take Dragon for free, and NK unfortunately died trying to do something with his team. Now, if you're in a situation like this, where you are falling behind, what do? You can try and hunker down in lanes. Hunkering down in lanes is an awesome idea. But it's also not a well thought out idea, because if you hunker down in lanes, well, the people you're laning against are stronger than you. they have more farm, they have more gold. In this case, the enemy team also has a little bit more global gold. So it's very, very easy for you to die. It then really comes down to ganks. It could be roaming ganks from the top lane, it could be jungle ganks, but you gotta just start killing dudes. Make sure you know where the enemy jungler is, or you're getting just super big advantageous situations where someone else can show up and you won't die. But if you don't know where people are, and if you're falling behind, you just gotta hunker down and either try and just farm back up and wait a long time, or gank. And of course, if you see an opening, if you see someone make a bad play, just go punish them. You can do it. It's okay. But like I said, when you are in a bad laning situation, bad stuff can happen. Just in the lanes. For Maples, like, they're respecting the Rumble damage this time. In the past, they hadn't, but they just can't do anything. I'm so sorry. Now, we're just going to fast forward for a bit, because not a whole lot happens in this little while. It is the ass kicking of a century for the 2v1 lane, as they've died now twice to the solo. And I'm sorry for Maple Street and Box, but that is not a good place to be in. It's a bad place to be in. But I mentioned how Hecarim ganks pre-6. How do you gank post-6? Well, you've got this big spooky ultimate, Onslaught of Shadow. Onslaught of Shadow is a ridiculously good hard initiate spell. You get to someone, it's guaranteed that you'll get to them, most likely, unless they have a really good flash. The AoE on it is wide enough where if you target past them and they flash back, you will still hit them. You don't have to target past them very far, just a little bit off-center. Now, this does not necessarily mean you always have to lead off with it. The ultimate is great for follow-up, it's great to catch if somebody burns a flash and tries to get away, and just gotta watch how this game goes. So Hecarim goes forward, he pushes back balls, and they're just gonna take him out now. He has no flash, he has no reason to get away, and King saves the ultimate. The ultimate has a 131 second cooldown, which is huge early on. Meteos is able to save his own ultimate, because, well, they were screwed, so the 162 ultimate cooldown is also saved. But if you think about it, Nocturne ultimate and Hecarim ultimate are kind of similar when it comes to ganks. They can come out of nowhere very quickly, very hard to spot, and you catch someone. In the case of Nocturne, you get more range, but at the cost of less reliability. They can flash your fear, they can get away from you. In the case of Hecarim, you have a lot more mobility and a lot more opportunity to get to a fight, but it's a lot less gap closing. You can't do it from over here to down here at the level 11 mark. Now, your Hecarim, your team is behind, you have your ult up, just don't stop ganking. So I mentioned before, what do you do when you come back to the jungle? You know, maybe look for CS, look for just something to do. In this case, they can force plays. Hecarim ultimate is so huge in 2v1s that they can just do what they want. Probably is also just goddamn awesome in this AP cog build, as he's able to just kind of take out high. But Nkink, what does he do? He pushes back high again. This is the basic of a Hecarim gank. In this case, it's huge because it pushes them into Prolly's passive. Just push him back towards the rest of your team. As Hecarim, you can 1v1 a lot of people, so sometimes you'll be doing that. But basic gank 101 for Hecarim, push them back towards your team. If you're coming in from a direction where they're not pushable, unless you go past them, you're fast. Nkink's running 9021, so he's super duper fast, 400 move speed with only boots 1. But just move past them, push them back. That is your main goal. You can use the ultimate sometimes if you can't get the push down and you just need to start a fight like that. But for early, especially pre-6 ganks, push them back towards your team. Later on, your main goal is going to be push them back towards your team. In the case of NK later on, his goal will actually be more like push them away from his team to keep them safe. But just remember, when you are ganking as Hecarim, push them back. It's a very easy thing to forget just because it is a damaging skill. I mean, it's dealing 88 damage, which, when you factor in the damage from his auto attacks, which are decent because of Warpath, when you factor in the damage from Rampage, it's like maybe you can just take someone out on your own. That's possible, but it's also riskier. Think of how popular Vi is right now. One of the reasons Vi is super popular is you can't really avoid her ganks. They're almost guaranteed to land, it's whether they'll get kills. Hecarim's kind of the same thing. Now, realize that at this point in the game, they don't have any wards here, but imagine if they did, and there is a pink just to guarantee this. But even if this bush was boarded, with the enemy positioning here, you can gank this. You can gank this from lane, you can gank this from over here. How fast is Turtle? He's 375, moving away from enemies. How fast is Lemon? 325, and Turtle did go for early Zerkers. So even if they'd spotted him here, you could show up and get the gank off. And that's the case with a lot of junglers, but Hecarim's that special character who, I mean, when you have Ghost up, you are this unstoppable killing machine. And when you don't have Ghost up, you're still really fast. Just the 400 move speed he has, the high base move speed, and the extra move speed from Devastating Charge, it's massive. You can do a lot with ganks. You can really approach from any angle. And as long as you're not warded super far out and you're not caught super far out, you're almost guaranteed to close that gap. I wish I knew it was popping up right here. It keeps doing it. I keep clicking off to cancel it, so sorry if that's distracting. It's distracting me, god damn it. Now, if you're a Hecarim post 6 without the ultimate up, you can just kind of hang back. The build you normally go for on Hecarim is Spirit of the Lizard Elder. So cooldown reduction, it works really well with Warpath, with the Rampage. The keyword to look at Rampage's description is that it reduces the base cooldown when you use it. So you don't get, you know, a 2-second Rampage, and then the CDR you're getting is working off 4 seconds, so you get these awesome Rampages. You still get cool Rampages. It's just, like I said, it's 1.2 seconds instead of I think what would that be? 0.4 seconds? Something ridiculous like that. So because of Rampage, because of how it works, you know, CDR is good on him. But like I said, Hecarim, he survives by dealing damage and having damage dealt by his allies. So in a sense, when you build Spirit of the Elder Lizard, you get a lot more CDR, so you can have more Spirit of Dread up, and also, it just helps you deal more damage, it helps you survive. Spirit of Dread really gets to be a devastating thing. Even at 20%, which is what it will be at next patch, it'll still be an awesome way to keep alive. Now, Hecarim does have his ultimate not up. About 20 more seconds. Whoa, I forgot you could do this. It's been so long since I've right-clicked in LoL replay. Sorry. And both sides are looking for Dragon. In this case, box, and knows they're doing Dragon. He put the ward down, he got killed, and he was able to Q Dragon. And they're just waiting. Both sides are just looking for it. What's the opening? What's the opportunity? And Nick now has his ultimate up. And this is where we're going to see the basics of the KITE comp. It's going to be in a very limited degree, and we're going to see NK make some cool sacrifices. This is why I want to show off the Hecarim, because the Hecarim, even though he's not common with a KITE poke comp, he fits it well. He fits it well for reasons that are based off denial and just keeping your team alive. We'll just follow NK for a little bit more. We can fast forward a little bit. And realize that they were 1-7 on the side of DNG. They're 4-8 now. All 3 kills have come from Hecarim. All 3 kills are coming from Hecarim ganks. Hecarim, when you can get to lane, and if you can get behind someone, if you have enough follow-up, which is really usually not that much, just a little bit of CC, a slow, something to keep the enemy from just instantly getting away, you're almost guaranteed to get a kill. He is such a good ganker. He is also great in 2v2 fights. He is just awesome overall. Now this is Hecarim in these KITE defensive roles. What did he do there? Or we'll reveal this in a second. Now if you look at the rest of DNG, they're just moving back. They're getting the KITE from Maple Street. They get the acceleration gate up, and they're just able to kind of bait people into bad positions. You're not always able to bait people into bad positions. It's just very, very possible. Except high also, they're ready to kill them. So, what... Oh god, I thought it crashed for a sec. What does Hecarim do in this fight? Watch again in a little bit of slow motion. So Prawley's going to get ulted. He's spotted by a couple wards. There's like a billion wards right here. They're all spotting Prawley. So he's going to get ulted. It comes out. And then NK, he's looking for Nocturne. He's looking for a way to keep him out. The spell shield comes out, so he can't push him out. He actually waits specifically for this spell shield. He can more or less get the auto attack off right here. And then the spell shield falls off from Prawley's damage, and he pushes him back. And then High misses his ultimate, which is really funny, and it actually caused him a lot this game. So part of this was a mistake from Cloud9. At this point, he just kind of sits there and just kind of wastes time, heals a bit from Spirit of Dread. He uses Spirit of Dread before his team really shows up, unfortunately, so he doesn't heal that well, but he wastes time and stays alive. And that's his goal. Distract the enemy, take the blows, take the damage, hopefully your team is there to back you up, and provide healing through damage. This is how Hecarim just works in general. He saved the ultimate because he didn't think he needed to use it. He actually could have used it there, just for the extra CC, the extra damage. I think it would have helped out, but I can understand why he saved it. His team had already reached a point where they got away. And now they can use the ultimate here. Push back towards the team. Push back towards the team every single time. Watch as Prawley dies still, though. Like I said, this is the Hecarim gank 101. Ult, pushback, ult, pushback. He could try to flash out, but he was being pushed in the wrong direction. It just did not work. Had a High try to flash the ultimate, unless he went to the left or the right, which would have still left him in range to be hit by the pushback, he would have been feared. If he went towards Brawl, he would have owned, but he would have still died. Alright. That is the Hecarim 101. Push him back. Just push him back. Every single skirmish, every time you're just going for like a gank where you think you have the advantage, push him back. Obviously, if you're pushing in like a bruiser towards your squishy AD carry or squishy caster, don't push them back. In that case, I can understand why they did it. I don't think they expected High to have his ultimate quite up yet. It came up very, very quickly, but he does have the Athenes finished. I mean, High's rocking a lot of CDR. He's at 24% CDR, which is really, really good considering the fact that he only has, I believe, what is it, 20%? Yeah, he only has 20%, so he's got the 4% from offense, which is a lot of CDR. So that was Hecarim 101. You push people away, and then you put when you want to keep your squishy safe, and you push them the squishies towards you when you want to kill them. It's surprisingly effective. And then Spirit of Dread, of course, it is your bread and butter for staying alive. Hecarim ult, it's not quite up yet. They're waiting for it. It's up in a couple seconds. Let's see how it works. Enemy team gets Dragon, and they realize they're in a bad position, and they disengage. Now, why did that work so well? Why is this not the worst engagement? It's still bad for DNG, no doubt about it. That sucked for them because they lost Dragon. But it wasn't the worst thing in the world because they didn't lose anybody. They weren't killed, and a lot of this is that Hecarim's ultimate, which, if you're not focusing on using it to start team fights, it's also a good escape. It's a really good escape. There he didn't get caught by Orianna's ultimate at the last second because he ulted out himself at the last second. And this is why I really like Hecarim on this comp, because you can sometimes use the ultimate to escape. Realize, though, that you want to use it as rarely as possible to escape. It's kind of like Malphite ult. If you're using Malphite ultimate to escape, it means you made a mistake. Same with Hecarim, generally. In this case, the team has so little backup that I can understand just not wanting to use it offensively quite as much, but still try to hold back that sucker. But still, it's a really cool part of Hecarim. He's got such good defensive options that you're only really in danger if they have good follow-up, if they can chase you. And you're also so fast that they probably can't. Yeah, they can't chase you. Cool. Oops. A couple random coins on my desk that dropped. Now, what is NK going to start building? He's built the Spirit of the Elder Lizard. Now it's all about the tankiness. It's going to be Lockout there Iron Solari, looking at this item build, you know, because it's a Lockout style build. But what does he focus on after building the Spirit? He focuses on tankiness. And tankiness is, of course, that big deal where he's going to get himself into a position where he does decent damage of his own, and the rest of his team will be able to heal him back up once he gets into the team fight. Or, you know, he's going to die but sacrifice himself and let the enemy not catch up. And King, he is sacrificial lamb in this case, well, more of a sacrificial horse. So when his horse head ends up in somebody's bed, it's going to be because he killed like 5 guys, not just a threat. DNG, though, they've come back from what is usually an insurmountable lead. Like, how do you come back from 1-7? You just keep killing them. You just keep killing them, you keep ganking them. If you look at NKank, he's 5 of the team 7 kills. One of them was the 2v1, and I believe he's been there. He's been useful. He's been backing up his team. And that's an important thing to do as a jungler. As long as you're supporting your team, it doesn't matter if you're getting too much farm, as long as you're doing your job. Now Cloud9, they're looking for, once again, for that engagement. You have balls over here to the side, the ultimate comes out, and this is an amazing Rumble ultimate. It catches 3 members, they all have to flash, and then King, he does his thing. He plays the get away from me game. They blow the flashes, which is a big deal, but still, they can't get close. They're scared of the Hecarim ultimate, and he's set up his team to get the good kite off. And then once his team finally got a good retreat, he ults in to try and just get some work done. He does go down, but they take balls, they take turtle. Like, a lot of that was on the rest of his team, but in the end, he distracted, he pushed them back, he made sure the enemy team did not get anything for free. And he is just going to be a big distraction. He is a huge clown. When you watch that in fast motion, he was incredibly useful. What does he do? Push someone to the side, keep them away, he waits for the spell shield to fall off. It's like, alright, they got away. They dodged Orianna ultimate once again. From Maple Street could have died here, though, and it would have. They actually still would have been in a most likely okay situation. He doesn't really get any more auto attacks off. Except some boomerang bounces. So he got a little bit of damage off, but they still would have killed Rumble. They still would have come out. It would have come out 1 for 1, or 2 for 1, which is, you know, not the best, but hey. They also probably wouldn't have gotten that turret. But what did NK do? He sacrificed himself, the rest of his team. They laid down the slow, they laid down the escapes, and they got away. Sona Ultimate, who did Sona Ultimate hit? Hit Nocturne and Rumble. It didn't hit the backline, it didn't hit anybody who deals super high tremendous damage. The Rumble does hurt quite a bit, but it hit the people who were going to chase them down, and with that front line being forced to retreat because they can't stay in the fight anymore, the KITE poke comp comes into play. Go back to NK Inc Vision. He's got ridiculously high CDR. So he's at 88-second cooldown for his Onslaught of Shadows. Like I said, he went utility, so his CDR is going to be 26%, just based off the build he's been going and his masteries. 10% on CDR. So this means that he will have his ultimate available almost for every fight. So as long as he isn't dying, he can just kind of wait around, heal back up very quickly, and have the ultimate soon accessible. We haven't really seen a good example of NK getting into a healing situation, but this is how the heal works. Look at that, he just got an extra, what was that, 150 HP? 150 HP from minions very, very quickly. And of course, when you're dealing damage to champions, it's a lot bigger number with the AoEs hitting them hard. Oh, he went for Aegis this game. Sorry, my bad. I've seen a lot of Hecarims. I've seen some just go DPS. Don't do that. Don't go straight Frozen Fist because you need the HP. But in this case, Aegis is a good combo. They have a lot of magic damage on the enemy team because of Rumble, and this provides a lot of very, very nice, greedy self-defense. You know, the stats for the team are nice, but look at that, 250 HP, a lot of armor, a lot of MR. It's pretty good. It's pretty good for himself. And then, of course, the aura is pretty good for the team. Now, what's the plan for the Poke Kite comp? Force nothing. Never ever force a goddamn thing. Don't you fucking dare try and do something. Now, you can set stuff up. You can poke, you can set a siege line, you can wait for the enemy team to go into you. Like, if they push towards mid inhibitor, they could wait for Nocturne to ult again. And so far, they've done a good job making sure Nocturne's ultimates aren't doing that much. You know, they kill NK Inc., but who cares if NK Inc. dies in the end? That's what he wants to do if he keeps his team alive. So if you're on Poke Kite comp and they've equalized the gold, they're only 600 behind, what can you do to kind of do stuff? You have to group up and push lanes. And when you push lanes, you start doing the siege. In this case, probably really wants a blue buff though, because the poke characters tend to be very, very mana intensive. Lux, for example, Nidalee for somewhat of an example, it's mostly the heal that's mana intensive for him. You can also go for objectives like Dragon, which if you kill it quickly, it's okay. If not, it's terrifying. Because in the Dragon Pit, you're exposed. Both teams kind of back off though, they're going for the more passive play. In case of Cloud9, they lost a 1-7 lead, so understandably they're playing a lot more cautious now. In the case of DNG, well, they're playing cautiously because they have to. When you play Poke Kite, you can never force anything. Like, I'm just going to keep repeating this because just think about it. If Hecarim uses ult offensively, then all of a sudden Nocturne just gets into the back line. Rumble gets his ultimate on the back line, and if nothing is there to protect them, then they die. If you use everything offensively, then you have no defense left, which is the case with Acceleration Gate. It's the case with even Sibra's ultimate in a sense. And they know that on the side of DNG, so they hold back. This is not a bad way to play necessarily, especially if you're confident in your late game. And who has a better late game? Well, AP Cog is really good late game. He has good auto attacks because of his Bioarcane Barrage, but so is Vayne. So it's actually a very equal late game, and I think both sides they're playing cautiously because they expect their late game to be better, and who has a better late game? Positioning. Positioning has a better late game. So, you're NK Inc. You're looking for the enemy team. You want to start this fight. How does it go? It really doesn't. They're poking down. In the case of Kog'Maw, he now has blue buff, so he can spam his ultimate like crazy. But you have to land a bunch of pokes first. In the case of Nidalee, you land one spear, someone's down to half HP. Cog, you want to wait. Cloud9, they do the same thing again. They know that Probably has to really die first. And this is a good ult onto Maple Street and Probably. Oops, still at half speed, sorry. Alright. I love this fight. I love this fight so much. I love this fight a lot. It's one of my favorite fights I've seen. And there's explosions everywhere and loud noises. And how does it start off? Alright. Probably it gets caught by Meteos. Meteos goes on a Maple Street though, so the focus not quite there for Cloud9. The Reverie comes out from box. NK sits in the enemy team, uses Spirit of Dread, and just they're trying to kill the enemy. So NK, I like what he's doing here. I do think he has to save a Spirit of Dread till he's taking some damage though, but that's just me. And it's the same kite fight we've seen before. Maple Street is the one who gets focused on first, and he goes down. You watch NK, he tanked a lot of damage. He's actually going to die here. He ults just to, waste them more time. It's the same plan over and over. Ult and waste time. He goes down. It's now a 3v5, but the enemy team is so low, probably has blue buff and his ult available, that he actually starts turning people down with the ultimate. That's what finishes off balls. It's the ult. His flash is down. Is it going to land? Is it going to land? It's going to just thud on him. Not that one. And then once they've poked them down so low on the side of actually I guess he doesn't kill balls, my bad. On the side of Cloud9, they just kite back. It's like they poke forward, kite back, poke forward, kite back. I mean, they're going to take out box. Actually, Chris, I mean. But they poke forward, kite back, and eventually they put him in such a bad position, and box with his speed buff is able to just help out and kill Meteos. Poke forward, kite back, poke forward, kite back. Every time Prolly's getting ulted to start a fight off, they're okay with it on the side of DNG, because they just protect Prolly. They focus on keeping him alive. Now, because balls did not die, they could not do all that much in the fight afterwards. They didn't take any turrets, didn't take any objectives. No Baron went down with the 2-man AP Kog'Maw. Sona Baron, but still they're getting kills. They're showing that despite a horrendous disadvantage, they still have a lot of team fight. That was a 3 for nothing that turned into a 4 for 4. Wait, nope. 2 for nothing that turned into a 3 for 4. There we go. That's the math I'm looking for. So what are they doing on the side of DNG? Same thing. They poke forward, they wait for the ult on the Prolly, they wait for the ults on the Chris, and then they just kite back. Here, Spirit of Dread is actually giving a lot of HP to NK Inc. He used the ult defensively just because the kite game wasn't working so much. They didn't get enough poke there. And he gets out of the fight, and they're fine. Ult's down, but it's going to be up in 70 seconds. So, like, just watching this fight again, why does this fight not go so well? They're just not in a good position for it. Sona Ultimate's available. They have decent positioning, but Meteos going for Chris means that they're all just kind of... Like, normally probably would just turn and start CCing, but they don't group up enough, and they don't really land any other CC. Like, probably hasn't landed the spit yet. He goes down there. The ultimate from Sona is decent, but only hits balls and Meteos again. And because they're so well grouped up and so clumped up on the side of DNG, they just have to get out of there. And Kane could have ulted them, try to fight there, but they didn't need to. And now they can just turn around. The ultimate's down from Nocturne, the ultimate's down from Rumble. Just go back to the poke fight. Like, alright, you lost your Hecarim ult, that's okay. They lost all their hard initiates. Sivir's ult is down, Sona's ult is down, but they don't have any way to get up to you anymore. So, cool. Do it. Do your thing. The High still has his ultimate up. So they gotta be cautious about that. And they're not. Now this is why you never commit to anything on Poke Kite team. Because very quickly, once one person gets caught out, the enemy team can very easily get confidence and keep chasing you down. In that case, they lose AD carry, even though Sivir's not been doing the most in these fights. She's dying fairly early. They have nothing to keep the enemy team away. They have nothing to scare them anymore. They use very few cooldowns they only use the one ult to kill Sivir. Nothing's really up anymore, so they just can't confidently stay fighting. Though they can still poke like crazy. And that's what they do. Just poke, 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 poke. That's all you do with poke comp. You poke. It makes sense. Alright, back to NKing. What is NKing doing? He's building tankier and tankier and tankier. He's got the Aegis now. He's got a decent chunk of gold. 1,400 to spend, so he should probably go spend it. And he's going to do that now. And what is Hecarim build going to lead towards? I've seen a lot of people rush Frozen Fist. Don't rush it. It's a great item for Hecarim. It really provides a lot of control. In this case, he's rushing the Aegis and the Runic Bulwark because lots of magic damage on the enemy team. And if they can survive balls of damage, I think the balls damage is what they're really scared of, and a little bit in the sense of high. Then that's the front-loaded damage. That's a lot of the burst that's being put onto them. This game has shifted a little bit from Hecarim. His basics aren't that hard. You have to know when to ult in, when to ult out, when to just sit there and save the ult. In this case, it's been a little weirder because of the poke kite comp. Normal Hecarim, it's ult, start, fight. Don't ult if ult not needed to start fight, or if you can't start a fight well. Ult away if you're going to die, and you couldn't do anything even if you did ult there. And in this case, it's more of a ult when they start getting a little bit too close. Ult away if they're not really too close, but you're in danger. But what do they do again? They set up another siege. All they're doing, this time they have a ward for balls, is coming over here, trying to bait out the ultimates, and trying to win the fight when everything is baited out. Which is a good idea, because if the enemy team didn't try to fight, they would immediately get poked down and start losing objectives. Let's watch this fight 1x speed. It's kite, it's kite, it's kite. Hecarim goes in to keep them at bay. The heals come out 2 at a time. And they're actually not able to kite enough. The high ultimate's huge, and they just run away. Except Maple Street dies. Now, you'll notice that... okay, for a second, I want you to not watch the middle of the screen. I'm going to go through that fight again. Watch the health bars. So the fight just started. Health bars, they're going down a lot more on the side of DNG. They're going down super fast. They're taking some poke here, Nocturne's taking a decent chunk of damage. But as the fight goes down, you'll notice these health bars stop going down. These health bars over here, they're still going down. This is the poke, this is just the fact that they're constantly being hit while they're trying to disengage. These HP's bar going down, High's almost dead, Meteos is almost dead, Hecarim's pretty low, Maple Street's pretty low, but Sona hasn't been poked in a while, Kog'Maw hasn't been poked in a while, Chris is still half HP. It's the constant damage coming out from the members of DNG. And they go 1 for 1 again, but look at how low everybody on Cloud9 is. They're 3 flashing red versus 2 flashing red, and, well, Chris took a lot of damage at the end there, still had a lot of HP before he went in there and took that burst. So they're able to even get some pokes on this middle turret. They went 1 for 1, they get 1 auto attack so far, but they're still able to be threatening and scary, and that 1 auto attack is all they get. They just couldn't do anything after that, unfortunately. But still, I hope you're getting a good feel for this team. It's a little bit silly. I know what you're wondering. What could Cloud9 be doing against this to stop it? Well, it's kind of weird. They don't have a clear option. Part of it is the item build. If you look over at Cloud9, they don't have a Reverie. They have Lock of the Iron Solari, they have ways to stay alive, but they don't have a Reverie to catch up. Reverie would be huge against this. Cloud9, though, they'll do some sneaky stuff. They rush a Baron after the fight is lost. Like, it was only 1 for 1, so Ball's reviving now, Maple Street's reviving now, Baron down to 5,000 HP, and then they're scared off because of poke. You don't do Baron against poke comp. Poke comp kills you. Just watch Turtle. It's just probably trying to ult him non-stop because he knows Turtle is the bulk of the damage. Just ult after ult after ult, and Baron attack there at the last second, just trying to get Turtle the hell away. Do not do Baron against poke comps, they'll just kill you. Especially, Nidalee's the worst about it, because her Spear will burst someone down who's getting hit by Baron. This is a very, very silly fight. All of Cloud9 was just kind of forced into a bad situation. Hecarim ult didn't really do much. This is kind of the part of the don't force something. Sona ult whiffs. Everything just kind of does nothing here. And this is the one time that DNG could really initiate, but they were so far out of position and their ultimates were so messed up, it didn't matter. Now, Hecarim ult here. I'll let you decide. Was this a good ultimate? Why did this not result in anything really happening? So he ults here. He gets a good fear onto High, and he just tries to push him back, but High just walks away. Why was that a bad ultimate? There's nobody nearby. Sona's over here. Kog'Maw's over here. There were 2 dudes over here, but they're not a hard initiate comp. They can't chase people down. They need to be chasing people away from themselves. It's like when they're chasing someone, they're actually running away themselves, and they're baiting out a chase. They're chasing someone down is being chased, which is silly. So, point stands, never ever hard initiate with the poke kite comp. Like I said, you gotta wait for that perfect moment. And there, it was just one of those, we have a team, we can jump them. But this team is just bad at jumping people. Unless if they're all gripped up, they might have bursted down high, but they didn't even blow his flash. He casually walked out of there. That wasn't, oh no, I gotta run. That was, oh, I'm good. I'm fine. It's okay. Now, gold is still in favor of Cloud9. A lot of this is because the trades have been even. The overall CS is way, way in favor of C9. Kog'Maw is at 213 versus Orianna is 279. This is a pretty damn good game for Cloud9 in terms of farm. They just have the big CS advantage. I think in terms of overall turrets, they're a little bit more ahead in DNG, but one turret isn't the end of the world. So the early advantage is still there for Cloud9. It's no longer as meaningful, though. So DNG did a good job closing it, but, you know, one thing here, one thing there, and they lost it. By the way, Probably is such a man. Gets hit by a harpoon and keeps walking into the brush. Which is like, it's not the most dangerous thing you can do, but it feels like the most dangerous thing, because you've already been hit by a CC. What if they were going to kill you? If they were going to kill Probably, they just would have killed Probably. You had no chance. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for the ult to initiate and the kite to happen, and who's going to win the fight? Who wins the kite fight? Can they hard initiate more than DNG can kite? A lot of this is high. He's not able to get close enough to put the ball onto Meteos and ult, because Meteos himself is also not able to get close enough. Probably the guy who has to be killed is way the hell back. He's got rank 3 ultimate. I think looking at the siege is going to be important. They spam spells from Chris. They spam spells from Probably. Probably doesn't have a blue buff, so they're a bit more cautious, but it's just all about trying to keep Probably far away from high. And high and lemon specifically, because they can chain the ultimates together to kill him very quickly. But if Probably just stays far back, guess what? He's safe. It's kind of unique. He can be as close as he wants to Meteos. He can be as close as he wants to balls, because they will catch up almost guaranteed. But he can't be close to high, and he can't be in a range where high can easily get an ultimate by attaching the ball to either balls or Meteos. And of course Lemon as well, because he has the ultimate to chain CC. So you think of the big scary guys, alright, Meteos, he's going to get there anyways. So who cares about him? Normally you'd be scared of the Nocturne. This time, they're not. It's a very unique part of the positioning against a comp like this. When they have the hard initiates, you're more scared of the follow-up if they don't deal that much damage. And they deal good damage on the side of Cloud9, it's just they have so many ways to get away from the bruisers, it doesn't matter. The siege is going, though. Both sides have to play it fairly cautiously. Sever has bad auto attack range, so they can't be super overconfident. And they've waited last time for acceleration gate to go down before they went in, which isn't a bad idea. And they do it again. Fight goes down. Formidable Street being focused one more time. NKink goes in, pushes them back, and they're just chased out. Ultimate used to engage once they poke down people well enough. This is the perfect fight. They're going to pick up not too many kills. Balls will be going down. Eventually. Lemon himself, does he escape? No, he's dead. So 3 kills is a lot of kills, but it wasn't a total ace. I mean, there was enough time in that fight for Meteos and High to go back and heal. But what happened, they didn't stick to him. And Kane got the push off when Balls and Meteos didn't really cover the distance. Their team lost on Cloud9. Now realize what these fights are like. Cloud9, it's not that they just have to get people there. If they don't get people there, they lose. They outright lose the fight. But if they do get people there and they can't get high in range, then they go even, is what it's been so far, but they still have a really good chance of losing. So all of a sudden, Inhibitor has gone top for Cloud9. The fight, it's been the same fight every time, but just the one time DNG is able to completely protect against the super good Rumble Nocturne combo. I want to say Kha'Zix Nocturne combo. They're able to protect them and able to win a fight. This is getting into a little bit of a gambling situation. So people always say there's no such thing as a sure thing in gambling. And what you really want to do is you want to stack the odds. There's never a sure team fight in League of Legends. Like, alright, there's some sure situations. It probably is. But it's so hard to predict all the outliers unless you have a huge gold advantage and better AoE team fight. Like, they're 5 Master E's and you are 5 Rumbles with 7 items. And the Master E's all have nothing but Madra's Razors. Okay, you'll win that team fight. But until you can really confidently stack the odds, you want to, or until you can confidently guarantee something, you want to stack the odds. And in this case, think of how the team fights are happening. They're happening over here. They're happening by the turrets for Cloud9, not for DNG. So Cloud9 is on the offensive. They lose. Eventually, they'll reach a point in the late game where they can die here and they'll lose these turrets. Right now, they die here. They don't lose that much. So that's one way they're stacked. The other way is, because of how well positioned they are against Probably, it doesn't really matter if the initiate lands. Or not Probably against Tie. It doesn't matter if the initiate lands. It just matters that the follow-up initiate doesn't land. And they're playing against that, so it's like a 50-50 chance that nothing happens or they win the fight for DNG. It's like there's like the 1% stuck in there that they'll close the gap and just completely ruin someone. Maple Street, though, this does not respect Orianna Ultimate and gets hit one more time. But they can just run away. These are stacked odds. I mean, they don't have Baron buff. They do have a very, very slight gold lead. But all they do is just kind of run away. And as odd as it is to say, you know, the fact that they can just disengage, the fact they have the reveries, they have... Wait, oh yeah, they do. I didn't see, like, I was on cooldown, like, where'd it go? Where'd that reverie go? I know they have one. They just run away. They just stay alive. Hooray! I actually love that they're just constantly running through the acceleration gate. So, Maple Street's low. This is kind of the end for Cloud9. They have to do something now, or the game is just going to end. They're getting way too close to the point. Top's going to start pushing in. The bottom inhibitor, it's already pushing in actually. The bottom inhibitor is very, very killable for DNG. The only weakness they have is that Maple Street's low. So what do? Poke forward. They're waiting for it. Maple Street's killing creeps. This is important to note because he wants to heal up. And they go for Maple Street. Reverie was already up for box, so they kite back. A lot of stuff happens here. But what happened in the end? They couldn't catch Probably. It's 3-for-1. It's in favor of Cloud9, but they lose mid. All right, let's watch that team fight again in slower motion, because this is a team fight that C9 wins, and it's important to acknowledge it because this is what can go wrong with a Poke Kite comp. It's just they're in such a good position, it doesn't actually matter, unfortunately. So how does this fight start? It's always a Nocturne Ultimate. That's how they start these fights, and it's the most reliable way. Nocturne Ultimate, Orianna Ball on him. This time, they're in range. Hai does have his ultimate available again because it has such a short cooldown. And Meteos, he's got the ball on him. He's got the ball on him. He's getting knocked back though, they're chasing him out. But Hai's able to get close enough to really chunk people down. He doesn't get Probably, which is big. That's actually huge. But he does get Maple Street, who is low. King tries it to be a distraction at the last second. Doesn't work out. And this is the Hai positioning I was talking about. If they can't get away from Hai, they're just gonna lose. Also, this owned. That owns so much. And they lost inhib because they're the big, huge honking creep wave. Rest in peace, inhibitor. We hardly knew ye. Let's just take a moment to look at these guys. Who are the inhibitor summoners? Are those supposed to be representations of our summoners? Are we also summoning the minions? Or are those like summoners in training who summon minions from the inhibitor, and because they are such weak summoners, all they can do is summon a really beefy minion? Maybe these are the guys who summon minions in general. They're still alive, they're still here. Well, actually, wait. So the inhibitor, it goes from being, you know, purple to red, which is kind of weird because it's similar to the color of this purple. I don't really get that. Because red would kind of imply that, I don't know, it's in the red faction. Because, well, actually the inhibitors inhibit the super minions, which means that These guys were inhibiting. Okay, okay, I got this. The inhibitors inhibit the super minions, which means those guys are against the blue side, which is why they are red and kind of purplish, which makes sense. I was thinking maybe like they're blue side guys because they're still there now. I don't know why they're still there. I mean, I guess they're not glowing, but they still have their crystals in front of them. They should be able to still do something. Whatever. Whatever. League of Legends lore does not match the map. This sucks. All right. If you can see the timer, you know what's gonna happen. This game is over. It's the same damn thing. It's the same goddamn thing. They poke away. This time, I can't get close enough. And it's just classic. We kite in the back and we win the fight. Chris does go down, but he goes down at the expense of Turtle having to run super far forward. They actually get a really good chance to kill Prawley and the rest of his team, but Prawley's built super beefy. I kind of want to show that little engagement right there again. This time, NK, he gets the ult, he gets an aggressive initiate ult, and they get the kills. I want to show the Orianna ultimate off because it is an important ultimate. It shows really how far ahead they were, though. And actually, it shows a really bad positioning mistake from DNG. So they are far ahead. Chris goes a little bit too far forward, gets taken out, and then they clump up right here. This is super dangerous. This is a comeback moment. Hai does have the ultimate available too. Never used it. So wait for it. Hits 3. However, they've done such a good job kiting back. They've already taken out Turtle. Balls too low to really keep going for the fight. That they actually just turn around and kill everybody else over here, because the only person who deals damage over here is Hai, and that damage is mostly his ultimate, which is on cooldown. They still pick up from Maple Street, they still get important kills, but it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead, take a moment, and watch the Nexus go down. And what did NK end up building? Spirit Visage? Chain Vest. He built tanky. No Frozen Fist. The control would have been nice for his team. I think that's what the Chain Vest was going to build into. But in the end, he just had to push him back. They're wizards! Actually, wait. Look at these guys. They're like wizards. They do look like wizards. They don't look like these summoners. They don't look like the summoners they've shown before. Just straight up wizards. Wizards! Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This little look at AP or Hecarim on KITE poke comps. I'm sorry, AP Hecarim was an awesome gimmick that is no longer as popular. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll be doing some more stuff throughout the week. Adios for now, folks.